What up, y'all? Appreciate you showing up, hanging out, listening to my demands. Like and subscribe. So, look, it's the battle of the consoles, as I called it last video, is whatever it is. You know, it's ongoing. It's a never-ending cycle, morphing into different things. But one thing I wanted to talk about that I was listening to Boom today, and they touched on it a little bit, but not really. Indirectly, but not directly. So what they were talking about is why these content creators and these journalists and such do a lot of negative Xbox news and no real negative PlayStation news. And I forgot who it was, Crispy Bomb, or I forgot who it was, but they said basically it's the SEO for their website. They do that because bad news sells, and so you get more clicks that way and all that stuff. And I'm like, yes, that's true. But one thing that he failed to mention, I mean, of course it's kind of encompassed in, because SEO is just a whole thing. Search engine optimization is a whole encompassing thing, right? But specifically what has happened, and it started last generation, when all of the Xbots basically flipped to being ponies, right? And so what happened was they were Xbox fans, and they saw that, zeitgeist isn't going that way. Xbox isn't as popular. PlayStation is more popular. I need to get on the bandwagon. So a lot of these content creators built these PlayStation-centric channels. Hate Xbox all day long, love PlayStation no matter what they do, right? And so Crap Gamer, Mooch, freaking Reforge, MBG, Koala Boy, just name them. I don't want to say Puerto Rock. I don't think he was ever Xbox, but he kind of falls into it a little bit, but not really. He's kind of like a special exemption. But the aforementioned ones, those content creators, have a channel that is focused on negative Xbox news, positive PlayStation news. So what's happening now is that the tides are turning. You hear the angry Sony gods? The zeitgeist is shifting away from negative Xbox news and looking at Sony, and it's like, there's really nothing going on over there. PlayStation, it's kind of hard for us to do positive PlayStation news because ain't nothing going on. PlayStation ain't got no games. And so when anything pops up, my guy's the biggest thing, right? If you notice, all these PlayStation channels, they're not talking about positive PlayStation news. They're talking about negative Xbox news, because Xbox is doing a lot of positive things. They're moving forward in the industry. They're actually moving the industry forward, business-wise. The mechanics of what the video game industry is changing, is morphing, and Microsoft is at the forefront. They're leading the charge. Everybody else is following, except for Nintendo. They're just suing everybody. But that's nothing new. But they're still following too, because you pay your little $20 so you can have some whack ass Nintendo online service. Is that what it's called? Anyway, so these content creators are stuck. They have nothing to talk about. So what do they fall back on? Negative Xbox news, to try to play down the positivity and the strides that Xbox are making in order to make it seem that PlayStation is winning or something like that. It's all about perception, right? But the perception right now is PlayStation ain't got no games. PlayStation's third party. They're so desperate that Koala Man said it's not the same third party. They haven't gone full third party like Xbox. I was like, y'all are so down bad. You're coping so hard, coping and seething and blah, blah, all those words they like to use. I'm like, look, PlayStation's going to do it. I'm going to be laughing my ass off when I'm playing Spider-Man on Xbox, because it's going to happen. Wolverine, Xbox, it's going to happen. So all these things that these guys are talk. It's so hard to listen to because they don't make any sense. It's like, what are you talking about? Why? You see Xbox did it, right? You see PlayStation's doing it, right? Why don't you think that PlayStation would do the same thing that Xbox did? Oh, because they don't need to. Oh, but obviously they do. Because if they didn't need to, they would have never put Helldivers 2 on Xbox. They would have never put any of their first-party games on Xbox if they didn't need to. They need to, obviously. They need to make as much money as possible because they lost so much money. And, I mean, the goal is to make as much money as possible regardless, right? But in their case, it's a little bit extra. And they're looking at all the different things that they have. How can we make money? Like, my question is, like, The Last of Us TV show, how much does that show cost to make, production and all that stuff? And how much money do they actually get from, I guess, HBO? They sell the show to HBO. How much do they pay them? I mean, I don't know if anybody knows those numbers. I don't know if those numbers are public. They kind of should be, I think, right? I don't know. They usually are, like production costs and stuff for TV and film are usually public numbers. But nobody's really talking about that aspect of their business, which is a big aspect as well. That the camera sensor stuff, the chips and all that stuff. They have AI stuff too, AI chips for the cameras. The hardware sector, including PlayStation, but not just PlayStation, everything else, I think they're still making phones, or did they stop making those Ericsson phones, right? I don't remember. Are they going back to it? Doesn't matter. Those are failure. Anyway, it doesn't matter. What never made sense to me was that, well, it kind of doesn't make sense on Microsoft's end too, but for Sony, they've been making hardware forever. They were making computers for a while. Why haven't they ever invested in their own OS, their own operating system? You got Safari, you got Ubuntu, Linux, you got Windows. I mean Safari, iOS, excuse me. Three there. You got three there. Why? I mean, are they so inept that they can't do an OS? They can't hire people to create. I mean, of course they can. They have all these smart people building games. Why can't you do an OS? I mean, whatever. They like to copy. They should just copy somebody. Or is it Linux open source? I don't even know. But look, that's on them. They don't want to be a true software company, I guess. Whatever. They just want to stick to hardware. Meanwhile, they're paying for servers. Meanwhile, they're paying or they're using somebody else's OS. None of that stuff is theirs. None of it's proprietary, which is not a bad thing, but it's also not a good thing because they have no control over what they can and can't do with their to a certain extent. But anyway, rebel. But back to the content creators who are here and they're stuck and they can't do anything. They're in like kind of panic mode because they're like, okay, PlayStation is going down the deep abyss of disaster. We need to talk about, what are we gonna talk about? Oh, Xbox is trash. Xbox is this makeup stuff. Xbox is blah 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 blah. Anything negative, because they got no news on PlayStation. PlayStation ain't saying nothing. They just like, I'm like, yo, this is ridiculous, and this is how the end of PlayStation happens. And I think all Microsoft has to do really is to kind of, it's most of it is luck, and some of it or some of it is right place, right time, which is luck. And also have a good marketing campaign. They really need to do a really good marketing campaign. That being said, I did see them there was a little like mini push about a month ago with Game Pass and stuff. I was like, oh, there's a bunch of Game Pass commercials. Then I saw a bunch of PS Plus commercials. Look at basketball, boop, boop. I'm like, and, it works it's working for Sony right now because that's like the de facto console or whatever. So they're claiming all the third parties as their own, which is, it works for them for now. But what put them where they are was that first party push. And once that first party push fades away, which it has been, like, look, they don't realize, ponies and Donkey Unicorns don't realize how important every single first party game that comes out of PlayStation needs to be a 29 out of 10. They need to be so good that, okay, we can wait another year for another game. That's how good this game is. That's not going to happen. There's no games like that. Grand Theft Auto was a game like that, maybe. They can mess that up too. You never know. But I would say that's the closest thing. I mean, look at Hollow Knight. Hollow Knight 2. Silksong. Hollow Knight Silksong. I played it on Game Pass. I was like, oh, I should buy it. It's only $20. I'm like, man, I'll probably buy it later, just to have it. Instead, I bought Shinobi Art of Vengeance. I bought the deluxe because I wanted the soundtrack. Because I was like, I know Yuzo Koshiro's. I know he's on there, and he's got like 3 tracks on it. I was like, all right. But dude, the animation. No one pushed me over the edge. I'm gonna tell you what. I was looking on YouTube, and Young Dirty Bastard put out a song. I totally forgot what it's called. I saved it though, and it's got like gameplay, and it's like cut into, and it's got like some lyrics and stuff. I was like, yo, it looks so good, like his flow, and he sounded like his daddy a little bit. So I was like, all right, cool. I think it's his daddy or granddaddy. I don't even know how old he is. To be honest, I think it's his son. But I was like, yo, this is, and the beat was like, okay. I mean, the bars were tight in the beginning, and they fell off a little bit. And I was like, okay. But still, I was like, yo, that hyped me up. I listened to it a couple times today. I was like, all right. So I was like, let me just get this. Even though I haven't even played it. I loaded it up. I loaded up the extras, and I looked at the soundtrack. I was like, all right, cool. I looked at the art book. I was like, that's some nice art. And I just closed it. I was like, all right, cool. But that's a good, like, I want to support Sega in that way because, I'm a Sega fanboy. I can't not admit it. Sega made me fall in love with video games. So, I remember Revenge of Shinobi on the Genesis. I was like, and Yuzo did his work on there. I was like, yo. And they had Spider-Man and Batman in that game. I don't know how they got away with that, but that was ridiculous. And so when I first saw this new Shinobi, I was like, yo, look at that art. It's the same dudes who did the Streets of Rage 4. I was like, yo. So I was like, yeah, I gotta get that. So I want to see what the other remakes is like Golden Axe look kind of tight. I was like, all right, Crazy Taxi, maybe. Jet Set Radio or Jet Grind Radio, whatever they're gonna call it, maybe. I wasn't a super fan of the first one. It was cool, but I was like, it was a little. But we'll see if they get the controls right. I might cop that too. But I'm definitely looking at. Honestly, I want like Afterburner, Outrun. I want Power Drift, to be honest. I don't think they'll ever do a Power Drift because that's like that Sonic. It's just basically Sonic All-Star Racing at this point. So I don't know. Maybe I'll check that new Sonic racing game out. I forgot what it's called, but I was like, oh, okay, that look alright too. So Sega's having a little bit of a renaissance. So I'm feeling it. I'm cool. I'm good. But anyway, I'm sorry, ramble. I got off track again. But bottom line is, these content creators, these Sony Pony, Donkey Unicorn content creators, got nothing to talk about, so that they're forced to talk negatively about Xbox in order to pump up the ghost of what PlayStation used to be, to make them seem better than they actually are, which they're not better. Remember, they just raised prices in a sneaky type of way. They took some stuff out of their console, kept the price the same. They lowered the cost of them making a console by taking something out of the console which is valuable to the player, same price. I'm like, yo, they shameless. They got no shame. They just, we can do whatever we want. We PlayStation. That's all. Hey, Donkey Unicorns and Ponies, that's what y'all like. Keep bending over. They're gonna keep giving it to you. But not I, said the Stevie. I'm not messing with none of that. I'ma chill with egg bok, butter, like pancakes. Anyway, I appreciate y'all. Like and subscribe. Let me know what you think about these Donkey Unicorns and these ponies. Got nothing to say and nothing to play. I don't know. We'll see what comes tomorrow or today. Boop, boop. But I appreciate. I'll talk to y'all next one too. The wait.